Bryan Danielson defeats Shibata in a first-time ever bout on AEW Collision. Kyle O'Reilly makes his in-ring return for the first time in close to 2 years. Adam Copeland introduces us to Spike last night on Collision as well. A major shock in the AEW World Tag Team Title Tournament during Collision. Several matches have been announced for a special live edition of AEW Rampage set to take place after next week's AEW Dynamite on Wednesday live on TBS. And Chris Jericho discusses the possibility of a future return to WWE. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's start off talking about a first-time ever match last night on AEW Collision, a dream match to some, and that is Bryan Danielson facing off against New Japan Pro Wrestling legend Shibata for the first time ever. Now, Bryan Danielson won a major dream match on the March 16 episode of AEW Collision. For the first time ever, the American Dragon faced off against Shibata. Both men are known for their hard-hitting strikes and wrestling proficiency, and it was definitely all on display last night on March 16. In the end, it would be Bryan Danielson who would score the victory with a cradle after both men had exchanged pinfall attempts. After the match, they shook hands. Now, when it comes to Shibata, of course, this was the first time he had wrestled since losing the Ring of Honor Pure Championship to Wheeler Yuta on November 25, 2023. Danielson's next major match will be against Will Ospreay at AEW Dynasty, AEW's newest pay-per-view. Shibata was announced as All Elite back in December of last year. However, he had spent the last 3 months back in Japan dealing with visa issues. Now that these visa issues are indeed sorted, he is going to be back on AEW television, seemingly full-time. What did you make of this match? Did it live up to expectations? What are your thoughts on Shibata and Danielson? Let me know your thoughts, as always, in the comments section below. Now, it was a big night for Kyle O'Reilly. Yes, Kyle O'Reilly is back between the squared circled ropes because for the first time in close to 2 years, Kyle O'Reilly is back wrestling a match, and he was victorious in his return to in-ring competition. Kyle O'Reilly picked up a victory over Brian Keith on the March 16 episode of AEW Collision on TNT for his in-ring return. O'Reilly scored the victory with an armbar submission. After the bout, the Undisputed Kingdom, that being the International Champion Roderick Strong and the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions Matt Taven and Mike Bennett, congratulated O'Reilly by putting him up on their shoulders. Now, this marked O'Reilly's first match since the June 8, 2022 episode of AEW Dynamite, when he won a Battle Royal and then lost to Jon Moxley in the main event. O'Reilly had been sidelined after undergoing neck surgery. He then had post-surgery complications involving him not being able to actually use one of his arms as well. Nevertheless, he returned to television at AEW Revolution after Strong won the AEW International Championship from Orange Cassidy. Now that he's back, it looks like he's going to be somehow possibly involved with the Undisputed Kingdom, although initially he turned down the opportunity to join the group. So where do you think this storyline is going, and what did you think of O'Reilly after he made his in-ring return last night? Now, we brought this to you last week because there were photos of it on social media after it did take place from people in the crowd. But Adam Copeland has introduced us to his newest friend. On the March 16th episode of AEW Collision, the Rated R superstar Adam Copeland revealed his spiked 2x4 named Spike. You get it? Now, the gift came courtesy of WWE Hall of Famer, the hardcore legend Mick Foley. Copeland said that he and Spike were going to make Christian Cage say "I quit" in their match on Wednesday's AEW Dynamite for the AEW TNT Championship in their hometown of Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Now, as I mentioned, on the March 9th episode of AEW Collision, Copeland had this mystery box which said Spike on it that he showed to Christian, and he was seemingly spooked what was inside. We did show you at the time there were pictures from those in attendance that it was this spiked 2x4, and seemingly he's going to try and use it. So do you think Adam Copeland will actually use this spiked 2x4 against Christian Cage in their I Quit match this coming Wednesday live on AEW Dynamite, or is it going to be part of the finish? It allows Adam Copeland to win the match and make Christian Cage say "I quit." Let me know your thoughts about it. Let me know your thoughts about the weapon. And what are your thoughts when it comes to Adam Copeland in AEW? What have you made of his run so far? And what do you expect next for him if indeed this match on Wednesday is the blow-off between the two former best friends? Now, a major shock in the AEW World Tag Team Championship tournament last night on AEW Collision. Now, after Sting and Darby Allin forfeited the AEW World Tag Team Championships following Sting's retirement at AEW Revolution, Tony Khan announced a tournament to crown new AEW World Tag Team Champions. On Saturday's AEW Collision, the tournament kicked off with a huge upset as the Infantry, yes, the Infantry, picked up an unlikely win over the House of Black's Buddy Matthews and Brody King. The House of Black attacked the Infantry during their entrance and promptly beat them up on the outside before patiently waiting in the ring for their opponents to join them so the match could start. Matthews and King dominated most of the match, but Bravo and Dean wouldn't quit. They got in some offense and then got some unexpected help from one Mark Briscoe, who has been a massive thorn in the House of Black's side as of late. Despite the fact that Julia Hart, the House of Black member and the TBS champion, won the right to stand ringside after defeating Infantry cornerwoman Trish Adora earlier on in the evening, the Infantry ended up scoring the victory. Now, the tournament bracket was revealed on this week's AEW Rampage. The Young Bucks will get their rematch with Private Party 4 years after the latter got a huge surprise victory, kind of similar to this one, while former AEW Tag Team Champions Ricky Starks and Big Bill will take on Top Flight. Meanwhile, FTR and Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions Matt Taven and Mike Bennett will face the winners of 2 wildcard matches, including last night's tournament opener on Collision, the Infantry. The Infantry's win takes them on to a confrontation with FTR. Of course, they did actually face off in a promo segment a few weeks ago on AEW Collision, while Taven and Bennett will face the winner of a wildcard match between the best friends. That's Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta, not Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta, as Chuck Taylor's still out with an injury. They're going to be facing off against the Don Callis families, Powerhouse Hobbs and Kyle Fletcher. Of course, the tournament final will take place at AEW Dynasty on pay-per-view live on April 21st. Now, speaking of AEW Rampage, we did mention it there, but there's actually a special live episode of Rampage on a special night as well next week. Now, there will be a tag team street fight on the live episode of AEW Rampage. As announced on the March 16 episode of AEW Collision, there will be a tag team match on the March 20 episode of AEW Rampage as Chris Statlander and Willow Nightingale take on Sky Blue and Julia Hart. Now, this will be no regular match as they will square off in a street fight on the special live episode of AEW Rampage. Chris Statlander and Willow Nightingale are no strangers to a street fight. At AEW Collision Winter is Coming 2023, they were successful in a street fight against Mercedes Martinez and Diamante. Also set for Wednesday's live episode of Rampage is, as I mentioned, the second wildcard match in the tournament to crown new AEW World Tag Team Champions. This match will see the best friends battle the Don Callis family. The winners of this match will go on to face the Undisputed Kingdom in the first round of the tournament. Rampage is airing live on Wednesday due to the March Madness tournament preempting Rampage from its regular spot and taking Collision off the air on March 23 completely as well. So those matches are set for the special live episode of Rampage that's going to be taking place after Dynamite in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And finally, Chris Jericho has opened up on the possibility of one day returning to WWE. AEW star Chris Jericho has revealed in a recent interview that he doesn't really think about going back to his former employer. While Jericho has had a long career in professional wrestling, spanning WCW, WWE, and now AEW, he has recently mentioned he doesn't really think about going back. Speaking on the Gabby AF podcast, Chris Jericho said, quote, "I don't really think about that sort of thing. I kind of live in the now. We talk about being 33 years in wrestling. I'm like, wow, really? It doesn't feel that way because I can still have the best match on any given show. Not every night, but a couple of weeks ago, I wrestled Takeshita on Dynamite, and it was the best on the show. There are still great moments for Jericho and a lot that I can do. I don't shut the door on anything. To me, WWE isn't the be-all, end-all. It was great to be there. I had a great 20 years there, but I've had a great going for 5 years in AEW. I love working here. I love working with, not even for, with Tony Khan. WWE is a completely different animal now than when I left in 2017. It's been 6 years. It's not something I've really thought about. I like watching and reading about what's going on, the buzz that they have, but I also like my company and I helped start AEW. I don't really see any reason why I would want to leave at this point. Never say that I wouldn't go, but I have zero plans for that. I like it here. I like the people I work with. I enjoy coming to work every week, which was not always the case in WWE. And it's weird how that is the case here, but it's a different vibe, and I have a lot of fun here in AEW. Of course, Jericho is set to take on Hook on this Wednesday's edition of AEW Dynamite on March 20. So the question is, do you think one day Jericho will return to WWE, or is he going to see out his pro wrestling days in AEW? But there you go, guys. This latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right-hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.